All right. Rabbi Sai, it is really my honor and pleasure to be here for the siyum horambam. Especially, a siyum horambam is, as Rabbi Reitzis and Rabbi Shimel mentioned, is a special connection and a skashrus with the Rebbe. If oisin siyum with Gemara Shatera, for any Masechta you learn, it seems to be a personal success, a personal achievement that you do. Of course, when you're doing something in a skashrus, there's a reason to celebrate. Bashgacha pratis, the siyum horambam is Megalgal and Schus Liam Zakai is in Vav Tishrei. In Vav Tishrei, in the beginning of Shnas Tavshin Ayin Ches. I'm sure many of you have seen in Sefer Asichas Tavshin Mem Ches, Parshas Tzava Zayin Adar. The Rebbe writes there a very strange Indian. The Rebbe writes that we see that's very special mu'urois, very special events in history, Iru B'shana Shasimana Mistayim Ba'is Ches. Throughout history, there were many great events in Yiddish history that happened in the year of Ches. And in the order, the Rebbe writes, in Beis Reish Lamed Ches 2000, Reish Lamed Ches 2238, the Yidden Nebuch went into Mitzrayim. Tov Mem Ches, again Ches. Tov Mem Ches Yotzu Mitzrayim. Tov Pei Ches Nichnasu La'aretz. Tov Kuf Chav Ches Binyan Bayis Rishon. Gimel Shin Lamed Ches Churban Bayis Rishon. Gimel Tov Ches Binyan Bayis Sheni. Gimel Tov Chav Ches is Churban Bayis Sheni. And the Rebbe lists off what I just say, about 4 or 5 different monumental events, historic events in Klal Yisrael's history that happened in Ches. And the Rebbe goes on to say the importance of what's the kesher to Ches. But the bottom line is, Shnas Tavshin Ayin Ches promises to be a special day, a special year in the Yiddish history, as the Rebbe points out. To be Mekasher these inyanim together, siyum horambam, and this year siyum horambam is the 36th time, and it's the three cycles of Sefer HaMitzvahs, Perek Echad, and Shleisha Prakim, and Vav Tishrei. I'll start with a story that I'm sure some of you saw today floating around in some of the groups, a story connected to Vav Tishrei. When the Rebbetzin got her papers, somebody came to the Rebbetzin in Russia and gave her a visa, and with this visa she would be able to leave Russia. As you understand, the visa was a forged visa. Did you see the story Rebbe writes this? The visa was a forged visa. It was a fake. But if they didn't catch her holding this visa, she would have made it out. So right away when she gets the visa, she had a dilemma. She said to herself, I'm not going to use this visa. From Kind Vaizuf, I was raised never to be attached with sheker. This is false. This is forged. This is not emes. I can't be part of not emes. And what happened was, the elder chassid, I think it was Rabbi Raskin, she asked Rabbi Raskin what to do, and Rabbi Raskin said he built up enough courage to speak with Yerech Chutzpahdik to the Rebbetzin and says, if wilt sein our kinder, tell me, you want to see your children? You got to take this passport and go. Sheker or emes, you got to leave the country and leave. So she, with strong convincing, she was convinced, and she said, fine, she'll take this passport and leave Russia, but with one t'nai. The t'nai is that she wants 3 Chassidim to sit down as a bezdin, and they should paskin that she should do this. Shows you how far away Kedusha, Emeskait, Tmimus is from Sheker. Sakonis Nefashis, Russia. She does not want to leave because the passport is forged. What are you staying in Russia? Well, that's, unless Chassidim paskin, unless a bezdin paskin, Torah paskins, you have to go. She doesn't want to be part of it. We just spent 2 days in the shul, Rosh Hashanah, and in Rosh Hashanah we keep on davening, V'tar libeinu la'avdecha be'emes. Eibishter, please purify our heart, that we should serve you be'emes. Ki ata alikim emes. Udvarcha malkeinu emes. There is something genuine about emes, and only with that you have the kiyum. In Shema Koleinu, we say, Al tashlichenu milfanecha. We open our in Kodesh and we say, Shema Koleinu Hashem Elokeinu, Chuz v'rachem aleinu. And the next pasuk we say, Al tashlichenu milfanecha. And the Darshei Rishuma say, what is the Rosh Tevis of the first 3 words? Al tashlichenu milfanecha. Eibishter Aleph, Al tashlichenu milfanecha is emes. Don't allow ourselves to fool. Varfens nishavek in such a way that we're convinced that we're doing the right thing. Lead us on the path that we should always be in the path of emes. Mizozich nishnaren. I saw a word that we say, Kedalim u'cherashim bo defaknu l'asecha. Eibishter, we're coming to you, davening Kedalim u'cherashim. Kedalim u'cherashim, like poor people, it's a bracha in the mention, Azay kumen beten by Eibishter, please help. And the question is, for was Kedalim? For was Kerashim? If you really believe you're a dal, Rahman al-Litzlan, you need help, Zog, Banu lefanecha dalim v'rashim. That's who we are. Elamai, the Taurus is that we still we're still not convinced that we are a dal. We're still in the mode of sheker. We're not kedalim, kirashim. That's the biggest chisaron, when you're not makir the emes of who you are. Everybody, today's days, if you ask the merchants, the biggest hot item on the market right now is a Yanav Esrig. Because of what's going on, a Yanav Esrig is going to cost you, as they say, an arm and a leg. So I'll tell you a vart. It says in Svarim that in Shemona Esrei we find that you daven for 4 shleimas, 4 things to be complete. In Shemona Esrei you say, Hachzirenu b'tshuva shleima. Eibishter, please make our tshuva be shleima, complete. Then we say, Rifa'enu refuah shleima. Then we also mention geula shleima and tshuva shleima. So the Mefarshim say, Emuna, here's the punchline. Emuna shleima, tshuva shleima, refuah shleima, and geula shleima. What are the first letters of these 4? Esrig. Esrig is Punkvi by Esrig, Zuchman for Hadar, a Shalem, a Hadar. So these 4 things in Shemona Esrei you ask for Shalema. Emuna Shalema, a remes to remember this. Emuna Shalema, Shuva Shalema, Refuah Shalema, and Geula Shalema. When you think about what the Rebbe did in the world, the Rebbe had a whole other system of Shlema. The Rebbe had a system of Shlema of emes. What's the emes? Every Farbrengen you were ever by the Rebbe would speak about 3 things. Shleimus ha'am, Shleimus ha'am, Shleimus ha'teira, and Shleimus ha'aretz. What are those three things? Shleimus Aretz is Aleph. Shleimus Ha'am is Mi Yehudi. Shleimus HaTorah is Taf, Emes. The Rebbe is Midas HaEmes. Midas HaEmes Mond Shleima, Ganzkeit, complete. And Midas HaEmes Lastig Nishnaren. You can't be Kidalim, Kirashim. Midas HaEmes wants the truth. What does the Mishnah say in Pirkei Avos? The Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, Ein lecha ben chayrin el misha oisik b'Torah. And the question is, really? Ask any yeshiva bachir, half of them are not here. What's the biggest restriction they have? Another halacha in Hilchos Shabbos, another halacha in Hilchos Yontif, another halacha in Tznius, another restriction. Where's the ben chayrin? So the Mefarshim explain, and the Mefarshim say, do you know why you consider this a restriction? It's because you're not acting who you are. Dear Vilzich, to wear this certain type of clothing because the guy in France made this as a mode, as a style. That's not what you want. Torah tells you what you want. What's the true chayris? What is the true emes was du willst? So ein lecha ben chayrin elamisha oisik b'Torah, that is the real emes. When you are oisik b'Torah, the Rebbe established the learning of the Rambam. Shleimus kol ha-Torah kula. As we just learned in the video, that it's kol ha-Torah kula, and the Rebbe brings from the pasuk, that the Rambam brings the pasuk, Ozlei Eivosh, ba'aviti al kol mitzvaysecha, that the Rebbe is medayik, that if it's just leida hamaisa sheyasun, that's not a question of bizoyin. That I have to know what to do, what not to do. When David HaMelech in Tehillim says, Ozlei Eivosh, that's even those halachas that are not applicable today. Because the halachas that are applicable today, it's pashat amichshel if you don't know. The bizayin will only be if you don't know even things that are not relevant. And that's why the Rambam brings this pasuk, and that's why Dafka the Rambam is the one that teaches us Kol HaTorah Kula. In Tafshin Chav Beis, when the Rebbe taught the Niggin Anim Zemiris, and the Rebbe said the story that's connected behind the tune of Anim Zemiris about the Chassid that was davening Matzah Yom Kippur until next day. So over there, if you look in the Rishimus of the stories of Rabbi Dunin, about Rabbi Dunin, you find a fascinating thing. Besides that story that's mentioned in Tafshin, the Rebbe himself said in Tafshin Chav Beis, Rabbi Dunin writes that once in Yechidus, the Rebbe tells him, actually he didn't write his book, but it's written, Rabbi Dunin said, once in Yechidus, the Rebbe told Rabbi Dunin, as this, their nigun, anim zmiris v'shirim ereg, nafshi chamda b'tzel yodecha, lodas kol ros seidecha. Again, shleimus is the nigun was mezinkt l'mayla. L'mayla zinkt min den nigun. Lodas kol ros seidecha. Shleimus ha-Torah. If the Tmimim would be here, we know that is what it's all about. Tmimim, Shleimim. The Rebbe wanted a complete deal. Why the Rebbe? When I saw Rabbi Vogel before, I said, oh boy, for Rabbi Vogel, I'll tell you something. I saw this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm surprised that it's not on every headline in every Lubavitch circle. Why the Rebbe to Shleimus HaTorah, Shleimus HaAretz? So in Parshas Nitzavim, there is a pasuk, Hanistaros LaHashem Elokeinu. What's hidden, the Eibishter knows. V'haniglois lanu uvaneinu ad olam lases es kol divrei HaTorah azos. So what the different perushim on these words? Rashi says, the Gemara says, but I want to stop on one thing. If you look at the words lanu uvaneinu ad, every one of those letters have a dot on top. Frekt Rashi, and he quotes from the Gemara. The Gemara says, why is it nakud? Why is there the dots on top of Nakud alanu uvanenu? There is a dot on every one of these letters. Says Rashi, because af al haniglois, for even the revealed stuff that a person chas v'shalom did wrong, loy onash es harabim. One person, if he was safe, he wasn't responsible for somebody else. Ad sha'avru asayarden. So that's why there's the dots to tell you that even the niglois, what you know somebody else did wrong, you're not responsible for somebody else. You were not responsible. Ad sha'avru asayarden. That's the diuk. So that's lanu ulvanenu. How about ad, the ayin? So listen to this. Listen to the Baal HaTurim. Nakud al ayin. There is a dot on the ayin too. Ayin, what's the significance of the ayin? So he brings from the Gemara, Sha'ayin yoim haya me'echad b'shvat. Rosh Chodesh Shvat started Hayil Moshe Be'er Satayr Azois. 70 days later, Yud Nisan, 70 days later, Yud Nisan, that Kivan Sha'avru Yud Nisan, Sha'avru Asayarden, you know what happens then? Responsibility. Arvus from Ein Yid for its second Yid starts Yud Aleph Nisan. Ayin, Rosh Chodesh Shvat was when Be'er Satayr Azois. Yud Nisan is after the. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. This says in the Baal HaTurim. I'll read you the word. Sha'ayin yoim haya me'echad b'shvat shehischil levayer satayra ad Yud ben Nisan she'avru asayarden. Those 70 days ein lanu ulvanenu li'anesh. And those 70 days, you're not responsible for anybody else. If you saw anybody else doing an avera, Zol Yenagin Pfeifen. Yud Aleph Nissen comes along, verse 2, a order from Sveiten, a clear Baal HaTurim on Lanu Ulvanenu. So the Rebbe comes along and says, Shleimus Sa'am. It's not only me, I'm not here alone, I'm here for other people. I'm responsible, I'm an order for the second person. Shleimus Sa'Torah, because only with the Torah you are able to lift up and get the arvus. This is Aseret Simei Tshuva. We're standing in Aseret Simei Tshuva. In Aseret Simei Tshuva, we find that something very much connected. The young gentleman that was here, the Bacharul, the kid that finished the last halacha, said it's the last Sefer Mitzvahs, said it so beautifully. Is the we know is the last halachas the Hilchas Malachim. Hilchas Malachim is no better time to discuss Hilchas Malachim in Aseret Simei Tshuva. In Aseret Simei Tshuva, Zokman, that everything changes in Shemoneh Esrei, from Hakel HaKadosh to HaMelech HaKadosh, from Melech Oyev Tzedakah Mishpat to HaMelech HaMishpat. Malachim or Milchamesayim, everything about Melech, who a Melech is, how we treat a Melech is all in all these, it's stressed in these days. We all know what the Gemara says. Imru lefani b'Rosh Hashanah malchiyah zechreinis v'shofros. The Eibishter says, please, on Rosh Hashanah, mention psukim of malchiyah zechreinis and shofros. And malchiyah, the Eibishter says, Kedei shatam lichuni aleichem. I want to be your king, and do the psukim of malchiyah. I'll become your king. Ubameh b'shofar. How is it done? Through the mitzvah of shofar. So it's brought from the Sfas Emes that the Sfas Emes said, "Vos epis shofar." What's unique about why specifically a shofar? So he says, listen to what a shofar does. A shofar lichsha'atzmai is a garnished. Not too long ago, in one of the videos, the Rebbe said a fascinating thing that a shofar is the part of the animal that's not even from the chashiva parts. It's not even something which is mechuber to that. It's not mekabel tumah. The Rebbe had a whole, and dafka the shofar is able to do this highest, loftiest mitzvah of tamlichuni aleichem. The shofar is something alain. It has no chashivas. It's the person that blows in the shofar with the shofar is able to accomplish a great thing. When a person realizes ich bin v'ha shofar, Ich bin garnished. I'm not it. It's the combination, it's the blowing with something, somebody else helping you out, that could cause the tamlichuni aleichem. So I want to talk to you a little about the last halachas, not in Hilchas Mashiach, but I want to talk about melech, or chayil. Some say the tafshin ayin ches is tehei shnas oisa chayil, but oisa chayil, really, chayil over there doesn't mean chayal. Chayil over there means great, a geisa zachem, huh? Strength. But I saw some write tehei shnas oisa chayil. So in Hilchas Malachim, there's a fascinating halacha. We know, and when I learn Rambam, I try not only to be something in the luft and it's not negay. I try to apply it to my own life. And this halacha we could apply to the milchama of every yid with the Yetzer Hara. And I'll give you a small, interesting piece of information. This year, sometime during the year, I spent a Shabbos in an army base actually with Moshe Cohen. And we put together a minyan of soldiers or whatever in an army base in Atlanta, 2 hours from Atlanta, Fort Benning. Thank you. So I saw different ceremonies from the army, and I saw one ceremony that really shook me. So much so that I took a copy of what they were saying, and I even had the chutzpah to go over to the drill sergeant over there and say, I liked your speech so much, could you send me an email of your speech? And he did. But I want to give you over here, there is something, I don't know how many people were here in the army, but there is something which is called the Soldier's Creed. The Soldier's Creed, Rabbi Reitzes gives me the Churban Yerushalayim Megan, that means like a Olatera boy, I checked it up, was heißt Creed? So Creed is Ikrei Emunah. And they stand there during their ceremony, and they all scream this. The soldiers scream this, with pride, they stand there, salute, and they scream this. Listen to this line by line, and let's apply it in Avodas Hashem. I am an American soldier. Line one. I am a warrior